Good afternoon, everyone. This is Our Progress, where we infuse purpose, invigorate minds, and ignite change. Hey, I'm Kendrick Baylor, the Life Doctor.
I'm Terrence Johnson, the Life Excavator.
And I'm Jeffrey Hart, the Life Champion.
All right, so today our topic is live like you are forgiven. So we've kind of talked about forgiveness or like the process of that or why we need to a couple different times, but I was thinking about another angle to it on today. So one thing that we all, not all, but most of us have experience with is debt. Uh, And if you got student loans, student loan debts. And what we all want is to be forgiven of our debt with our student loan. That's the blessing that all of us want right now. So in context with that, it's the same thing. A lot of us are living with the burden of things that hadn't been canceled yet or forgiven. So we have a burden of things that we've carried with us, maybe from other people, maybe that people have said to us, things that have been done to us, that we live under that pressure every day. And then we make our minimum payments on it instead of having it forgiven. So,
Okay. I kind of like how you tied it in. Debt. We make minimum payments, and then when I think about living like you are forgiven, like I said, a lot of times people hold on or carry weight that they
mhm,
should have let go of by now.
yeah.
And so when we look at live like you are forgiven, as soon as we act for forgiveness, it's granted to us immediately. But however, the way we carry out or we go about our business, we act like nothing has changed. So we still, sometimes hold on to the shame or hold on to the guilt of or things that hold us back from moving forward. And
Mhm,
so living like a person that's forgiven is understanding that you have to be in a constant state of forgiveness. So I say it again. We have to be in a constant state of forgiveness, in regards to asking for forgiveness, but also forgiving the people that may have, done wrong by us, but understanding that it's not meant for us to hold on to that. It's meant for us to let it go and continue to move forward. Now, I know I said a whole mouthful and it's not as simple as I said it, but that's the reason that we're having this discussion today.
yeah. Now, I like what you were saying. Oh, Jeffrey, you had something? For
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, man.
all right. So, like you were saying, as far as understanding that it's something that you have to do consistently. The other thing I was thinking about, if you have debt, you have a debt to income ratio. So the
Mhm.
more debt you have, the less ability that you have to actually obtain the things you want.
Yeah.
Because like you have a credit score. And so like the more debt you have, the lower your credit score will be. And it's kind of like the same thing with forgiveness. If you have things or you feel like you have people that you haven't forgiven, that then get you imbalanced. So then you can't really attach yourself or go after things that you really want to do because your debt to income ratio is low. And so you don't have the capacity to really go into things with your whole heart or just with your whole body, because big chunks of you are tied to other things or other people that may have done you wrong or gave or made you feel like they owed you something that you did for them in return, and you hold that against them. But you really holding it as that's the diminishing your own score with yourself by you holding on to that stuff.
And
No,
it
that's
kind of put me in the mind of something that I was listening to yesterday. And
Mhm.
the guy mentioned that, you know, forgiveness, how do he put it? Forgiveness is more powerful than any um, hurricane or tornado that can come through.
Mhm.
Because you think about, T, like you were saying, you got your debt to income ratio and all of that, and if you carry around too much, you won't be able to get, the
Mhm.
things that you actually want because you got this baggage, weighing you down. And so
Mhm.
if you think about it, and I've read about it, read certain things and heard it before, people have said that, they didn't get the breakthroughs or the success that they wanted until they actually, practice, forgiveness.
Mhm.
So, that was like, people like, like you were saying, people or situations that may have happened that they haven't forgiven and they constantly holding on to that.
Mhm.
You can't get to where you want to go, without releasing that those things that you haven't already forgiven.
Mhm.
So, like I said, forgiveness, walking around with, a lot of unforgiven, things in your life, it's like, heavy weights or, baggage that you carrying around and it's slowing you down.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's like one of the I say memes that we put up, but one of the things that we do on social media, we put up different social media posts. And one of the things we put up is XX baggage, and so not being able to forgive is like carrying around XX baggage. At some point, you can carry that baggage around and be okay, but at some point, that baggage is gonna get heavy and it's gonna weigh you down and it's gonna impede your progress. And so there's a lot of people that need to let go of the excess baggage so they can fulfill their purpose or their destiny. Because sometimes the reason we can't move forward is because we haven't forgiven ourselves, and then sometimes we haven't forgiven other people. But what I've come to learn that a lot of people haven't practiced forgiving themselves, and they hold themselves to a higher standard than someone else would. And so let go of the burden that holds you back from forgiving yourself and forgiving others, because everybody got their own struggle, and so it's important for us to live like a person that's been forgiven.
Mhm.
And, then another thing, I think the reason, a lot of people walk around, with a lot of, baggage due to unforgiveness is because they think that it's some kind of unpleasant or, you know, um, or bad thing, to do, to forgive somebody.
Mhm.
Um, but really, all you really doing is just letting go of, stuff that's holding you down. I mean, it's nothing. I don't think anything bad can come out of forgiving
Mhm.
other
No.
people for what they've done. Because I mean, if you think about it, forgiveness is more for you than it
Mhm.
is the other person. Because 9 times out of 10, either they don't know or they don't care.
Mhm. Okay,
So
hold on. Say that what you said again. Say that what you said.
9 times out of 10, they either don't know or they don't care.
Mhm.
So you're walking around, holding these grudges and holding all this stuff in. It's hurting you more than it is hurting anybody else.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Hey, Jeffrey sound like yell off, do the right thing.
Now one thing I wanted before you, if I'll say this, and then if you got some more, I'll let you go back into it. But when you were talking earlier, it reminded me of something, and it reminded me of a conversation that me and you had a couple months ago. And I think you know where I'm going with this too. So me and Jeff were having a conversation, and I was really frustrated. I was just in a space where like, why can't I have what I feel like I deserve? Like it feel like I'm stuck, and I don't understand it. And if you remember what you told me to the people, because it's gonna help them like it helped me. So if you remember what you said, say that, and then we'll continue with the conversation.
I think I asked you something to the effect of basically what do you need to forgive, or who do you need to forgive in order to move forward? I think that was pretty much the gist of it, right?
Yeah. And like when he said that to me, it like somebody punched me in the gut. It was like, what? Sometimes you get so caught up into the narrative that you create of like this happened and all this was bad and da 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 da, that you don't really frame it correctly. And like Jeff was saying, like Ken was saying too, we have a lot to do with forgiveness of ourselves and other people. But when we become the victim in the story, it's harder to then, like we were talking about, give up those emotions because parts of us want to still be angry and resentful. And to make a choice to forgive means that I choose to let that go. And a lot of us don't want to do that. And so like when Jeffrey told me that, I was like, man, there's a whole other level question you just asked me. I just want you to know that was good. I'm like, oh yeah, it caught me off guard, but I was like, that's not a normal question to ask somebody. That's a deeper level question. And it's one that you really can't fake your way through. And I pivoted around that thing and I tried to loop back around. I know what I'm saying is not right because he hit me and I wasn't ready for it. So
Y'all, look, he sidestepped that question so hard.
I was dancing. I danced all around that thing.
You know what? When he started sidestepping, I just let him go ahead sidestep.
You
and I was
did.
like, he gonna catch you when we get off the phone.
Yeah, you gonna catch it when you get home, like they say.
Yeah. And so what you essentially did is knock the wind out of him. But Terrence hit on a word that I was gonna hit on. We a lot of times become a victim of our circumstances.
Right.
He hit that word. That's why I started laughing because I was gonna say it. But a lot of time the person that we need to forgive is not somebody external. I'll say it again. A lot of time the person that we need to forgive is not external. The person that we need to forgive is internal. Because we got to forgive ourselves for allowing ourselves to constantly repeat the same patterns or go down the same paths, or forgive ourselves for pointing the finger to somebody else. That's why, I talk about the man in the mirror so much, because that's the person that has to be accountable when we look at forgiveness. Because you can control who you forgive. You can't control who forgives you. I say it one more time. You can control who you forgive, but you can't control who forgives you. All that means is that if I start with me and I'm accountable for me, I can get better. I can make the transition to not let the things of the past or that distracted me hold me back. And I can learn to pivot or make the transition to better things because I no longer hold myself hostage of the things that plague me.
Now hold on. Can Kendra say that last part one more time? Then you go, Jerry. But that was good what he was talking about with
I no longer hold myself hostage to the things that plague me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that was good. Okay, all right, go ahead, Jeff. I just wanted the hostage thing got me. I had to hear that again.
Because if you think about it, man, you had to, like Kendra was saying, it's more of an internal thing than more than anything else. But you have to ask yourself, do I want to continue to experience this pain of not forgiving and
Mm-hmm.
continue to hold it, or do I want to experience the pleasure of letting it go?
Yeah. So
So
I'm gonna paint another picture and I'm gonna shut up. Forgiveness equates to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness equates to freedom. And if people don't understand the freedom that comes with forgiveness, is because they hadn't experienced it. But when you truly forgive, you free yourself of the things that hold you back. So the things that keep you in, and this is a strong word, bondage. The
Mm-hmm.
things that keep you, tied down, the things that keep you in your current state, the things that keep you stuck. And so we have to, in order to get unstuck, you got to forgive. In order to
Mm-hmm.
get the glue off your feet, you got to forgive. Because even if you step out the shoes, you're going to go get back in another pair of shoes that's stuck too.
You say that again. Say that again. What you talking good today? You talking good today.
I
Say
said,
that again.
even if you remove the shoes that got glue on the bottom of your feet, if you take them off, you're gonna go get back in another pair of shoes that's gonna be stuck as well. And so, true forgiveness is freedom.
Mm-hmm. So, you go ahead, Jeffrey. Now I got. So,
all right. Well, I'm just read this, and it's the same thing. A few months ago when we were talking to Dr. Bruce, and I read it then. So I'm gonna read it again,
Mm-hmm.
and it says, "Forgiveness is the answer. Most
Mm-hmm.
folks are afraid of the word forgive, thinking that it means they must do something unpleasant and dramatic. But the word simply means to give for, to let go of old ideas, feelings, or conditions, and to give something better in their place. The
Mm-hmm.
giving for process forms a vacuum and makes way for new good to rush in."
Mm-hmm.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, T.
yeah, that was good.
All right. So I was thinking. So this the next angle to it. So in the title it says live like you are forgiven. So now I'm gonna go to the different pieces of that. So living is being present,
Mm-hmm.
but if I don't let go of the things that are hindering me or that's anchoring me down, like Kendra was saying, like what's kind of hindering my walk, then I'm choosing a slow death.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm choosing a slow death to everything good in my life because I want to hold on to the anger and the resentment that's inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, like as we've been talking about, what Kendra was saying for like being a hostage and being in bondage, that's the bondage. It's the slow death of the things that you really called to do. And you can't do those things if you're in bondage to the things that you haven't let go of and that you are
Yeah.
that's your walk. And so it's kind of like it kind of, I don't say kills, but it affects you from the inside out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I'm not settled internally, externally it's gonna show. Or
Yeah.
externally how I treat people or how I deal with people or situations, it's gonna resonate from me because inside I haven't operated from forgiveness. Like Jeffrey was reading, it's a give, you give it away. That forgiveness is something that's given, but you gotta be a forgiver before you
Mm-hmm.
can be forgiven.
Yeah.
I say
So
that again. I say that. I say it again. You have to be a forgiver before you can be forgiven.
Now, and that's a perfect transition to what I was going to say. Most people issues is that they have a heart problem, not a physical problem. So your heart leads you to forgive. Now, if you got congestion around your heart, that means if you got so much clutter around your heart that you won't allow things to penetrate it to let you forgive, then like I said, you got a lot of distractions that prevent you from forgiving and moving forward. And so if we remove the heart issues we have, we can heal, but we get a clearer glimpse of who we shall be and what others can be. But if we are afraid to forgive, because a lot of people don't forgive because they think it's being weak, So, but guess what they're telling themselves? If you can't forgive somebody else, then you can't forgive yourself. If you can't forgive somebody else, you can't forgive yourself. Because the stuff that you hold on to is what festers and turns you to the darker side of yourself. I just don't understand why, this person did this thing to me. And because you feel like you can't understand it, or you think you can't understand it, you remain stuck and you can't make that transition from there. And so in order to win, you must forgive. Because forgiveness equals winning too.
So let me ask y'all this. So what are some of the consequences of not forgiving?
So I'm gonna put it like that. I'm gonna roll with what Kendrick just been talking about, and I was thinking about it as he was talking. So if forgiveness has everything to do with our heart, if we don't forgive, we have a heart attack, or we have a stroke, and we have some kind of thing that then falls apart because of our heart being congested or us not taking care of our heart. And so it's like unforgiveness becomes toxic to us. It's almost like an illness, almost. And I was thinking too when Kendrick was talking, some things could be helped by medicine, but a lot of it has to do with our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so if you just like going back to the title, if you don't live like you're forgiven, it's gonna hurt your heart.
Yep.
And so then you're gonna start going to things to try and be medicine for it, to try and make you feel better about it. But it's really about you, what you eat and how you exercise, how you take care of yourself. That's how you can be proactive in it. And the same thing with forgiveness. The more proactive you are in it, the less things you have to look to alleviate the pain that you go through by not doing it. So like it's small, just like we were talking about, for like the minimum payment. You could do a little bit at a time, but you're not making any leeway in it. You still got the debt. But if you start to make it a lifestyle of being a forgiver, then that alleviates the pressure on your heart, because that's what you really affecting is your heart and how you can feel, and then be able to be present with other people from a standpoint of not trying to always be so not protective, but always leery of people and their motives and stuff. But if your heart is clear, you can set up parameters to make sure your heart is still intact, but also not shut down or shut yourself off from people. I don't know that made sense. Okay.
No, that was real good, and I had this concept as you was talking about it. So I was thinking about a lot of emotional health concerns or mental health concerns. It can stem from heart stuff too. So like the stuff that we hold on to. So if we think about trauma, we think about guilt, we think about shame. a lot of that stuff comes from things that we think we inherently, maybe done wrong, or maybe it's, somebody else has done something wrong to us or wronged us in some way, and we hadn't moved past it. But like I said, when you have an inability to forgive yourself, regardless of, it's not about who's right or wrong or whose fault it is. The inability to forgive yourself doesn't allow you to move forward, and you get stuck in your own stuff emotionally and sometimes physically. And so in order to separate yourself from some of the hard stuff, you got to do the hard thing and forgive. And like I said, forgiveness, we never said that this is easy, but we did say it's essential and it's critical to your growth and to your process.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm gonna put this comment back up because I liked it. Giving the inner pain over the counter med. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But I wanted to go back to some. I meant to make this point a little earlier. What Kendrick was saying about like responsibility, and so it kind of goes what we talking about too, as far as taking care of your heart. That's your responsibility, and so if we want our condition to improve, we have to take 100% responsibility of our actions.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most difficult part for people because they'll point to other people and what other people did, but what did you do and how did you react? Because it's all about your perspective and your actions. So your perspective doesn't change, your actions won't change. And so if I take full responsibility of all, if I take 100% responsibility for my current condition and phase in life, then I put it on me as far as how I go forward with it. Not, oh, if somebody else would do right or this person would do this or da 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 da. It's not predicated on what other people do. It's what I choose to do and how I choose to put perspective on the things that are done to me, around me, or what I do myself. And if I'm the constant in all of it, I know how to address myself. I can't change other people, but I can deal with me because I'm with me 24/7. So I can make that change. I can't change what other people gonna do, but I can change what I do. And so then that alleviates some of the pressure too, because I think so many of us are waiting for people to do things or apologize for things, or we feel like people owe us so much and that's hindering us from moving forward. But what if none of that happens? What if you don't get deposited? What if it doesn't, get rectified? Are you gonna wait and stay in that spot until that happens, or will you move forward knowing that you control your action and what you do from here on out?
No, that's good. It's no point of being angry at people, especially when they refuse to change or they don't have the ability to change at that point in time. Like me being angry with somebody that do the same thing every day is, monotony. Why give away that power and energy to be upset with someone that's not ready to change, willing to change, but just don't have the capacity to do it at that time? I'm giving away, energy and time and effort, wishing that I could control what I can't control. And so a lot of times we just have to accept that people gonna be people, or people gonna be who they are, and still love them regardless of who they are. Now, I'm gonna say it again. Sometimes we just have to love people in spite of who they are, and be okay with the rhythm that they take for their life, but not let it impede where you're trying to go. Because if you're stuck being angry or holding, or harboring some type of ill will towards someone because of what they hadn't done, then that's a you issue, because you got to look yourself in the mirror and make a change. You can change them, but you can't change how you approach the situation. Like me being angry at a former boss, that boss probably could give 2 cents about what I'm angry about, but yet it's holding me back from maybe what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And so that's a part of the reason why you have to forgive yourself, because it unlocks the door to the next chapter of your life.
Because, as you were sitting there speaking, I was just sitting there thinking, sometimes you just have to ask yourself, do I want a peace of mind?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want a peace of mind?
Yeah.
You can't, if you constantly holding on to stuff, if you constantly, just dragging this stuff along, you will never have a peace of mind.
Yeah.
You want you want your mind clear, so that way you can, move forward. But you see people all the time, they you can just tell that they don't have a peace of mind. And so I was just sitting there thinking, like, okay, if people constantly don't have a peace of mind, who or what do they need to forgive? What are they holding on to?
So I would say that's a simple question with a complex answer. And I think T gonna expound on the complexity about it. Go ahead, T.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Then I was going to say, oh, my bad.
It was just meant for me to say it's a simple question, but it got a complex answer.
So, okay. So when Jeff was talking, I want to make the distinction between peace. So you can have peace of mind, which is the calm of mind, or you can have a peace of mind, which is a portion of your mind. And I think when you chasing things and trying to figure it out in your head, you only have a piece of your mind. When you let go of the things that are hindering you and you become detached to all the baggage of it, then you can have a peace of mind, where you can have a calmness and a clarity of your mind, because the things, just like we were talking about 2 weeks before, the emotional baggage that you carry, if you can clear out that baggage and take out the trash, then your mind can be at peace, because you don't have things that are cluttering up your thoughts.
Yeah.
But if you have so much trash in your mind, then you will only have a piece of it, because there's so much stuff that's in it. So you want peace, not a piece.
Because
Oh, you break
Yeah, you're breaking up.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So some people are allergic to peace, though, because they want the chaos that comes with, things. Because chaos, it keeps stuff relevant. So some people like chaos, and because it draws more attention to them. And then it goes back to what Terrence brought up earlier, is the victim role. People that love chaos are always this center of attention. People that love chaos are always the center of attention. And for people that love chaos, it's better to be the center of attention than to have peace, because when you have peace, sometimes you're forgotten.
Okay, say that again. Say that again. Say that now. Say that again.
Sometimes people enjoy the life of chaos because it's at the center of things. And once you find peace, a lot of times they think they'll be forgotten, and people don't want to be forgotten, so they attach themselves sometimes to chaos.
That's good. That's good. That's good there. Ooh, that's good there.
That was That was the price of admission right there, man.
Yeah, that was good there. That's good there. That's
Yeah.
because it makes so much
That's
sense.
the reason that
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? That's the reason that they can't forgive.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is if they do forgive, then like I said, they letting go of everything that they holding on to, or that they feel like you were saying that gives them that attention. So
Yeah, that's the identity.
be constantly got this baggage or whatever, and it's visible and people can see it, and then you get that sympathy or whatever for carrying it. But the day that you decide to let it go and just free yourself, so what you're saying is, they don't want that because they're not getting that attention no more.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or to add to that, what Cindy was saying, when you choose to forgive, then you choose to let go of the people too that's attached to your pain. So a lot of people they like to be with you in the pain because they know where you are. But if you start to heal, certain people wouldn't want to be around because that chaos, kind of like what Kenny was saying, that's what they attracted to. So long as your life is upside down, they all in that. But going and healing and going to the point of giving up those things is giving up the pain, but also the people connected to that.
Yeah. And then you learn to repurpose the pain once you forgive people too.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of time people operate out of pain, but when they learn to forgive or heal, then they order of operations change. And so they no longer operate or do things. They're not so much reactive anymore. They're proactive into setting aside or developing things for themselves. When we're reactive, a lot of times we respond out of anger or we respond from a different place. But once you finally go through that process of healing, or you forgive yourself, you make that transition to a different step.
So I guess what I take from what you're saying, so people carry that pain around for so long that if they do decide to let it go, they're pretty much afraid of how life would be once they let it go, because they've been in it for so long that they don't know what life would look like if they do decide to let it go.
They're used to what it looked like with it.
So they've gotten comfortable with the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can say that their pain has become their identity.
Yeah. And they wear it like a merit badge.
Yeah.
Because people are proud of their merit badge. But when people, in a constant state of pain, they wear that pain everywhere they go. They take that pain with them.
Yeah. This good. This just been good. It's been good today.
So I guess it's safe to say that whether you're forgiving yourself or others, it's better to be in a constant state of forgiving and being forgiven, because essentially it's an everyday process.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's like you have to wake up every day and sometimes consciously forgive people and situations.
You just got to accept that that's going to be your walk. If once you make that plan to forgive people and not let people steal your power or give people your power. You just make it a standard thing for you every day. You forgive, just like every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Every day should be a day to forgive yourself or somebody else. You should look for opportunities to forgive somebody or something new every day.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's the way you become, well, not only gain your power, regain your power, but become empowered,
Mhm.
because the constant process of forgiving gives the energy that went into that, whatever that was, back to you. So, like we talk about, like recycling or repurposing, that's how you repurpose the pain,
Mhm.
then get the power from it by releasing it and giving it back.
Yeah, and then people tactics or things that they tried in the past on you, they don't even work no more. When you living in a constant state of forgiveness, people don't even bother by trying to interrupt you no more or make you angry or get disgruntled with you because they know, oh, now that person's in a different state of mind. They just flip it. No matter what I do or say, they still gonna be accepted and be okay.
Hmm.
Mm. All
Like,
right,
it's
so
hard to
let me
disrupt peace. It's hard to disrupt peace.
ask y'all this. So when you step into forgiveness,
Hmm.
are you stepping into a state of love at the same time? If that makes sense.
Tell me when you forgiving someone else.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say you're doing it out of love.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll let T answer the other part.
Well, I think like stepping into it, I think from your standpoint, you saying like you kind of operating from love.
Yeah.
Uh, and I do believe that you have to, because you have to have a certain love of self before you can love others. And a lot of our forgiveness problem is it's hard for us to love ourselves because we feel like the things that we need to forgive ourselves for. And then
Yeah,
it's hard for us to extend that love to somebody else because I feel like I'm not where I need to be. It's harder for me then to extend that to somebody else. But
yeah,
once I step into that love, I can love myself. Then the things that other people do, I understand that the thing that I got to forgive myself for is things that other people got to forgive themselves for. And so then I see people through a different lens, because now I know that the same struggle that I may be having, people around me are having the same struggles. So if they come across at me a different way or something like that, or they might not be as nice and all that kind of stuff every day, it's not necessarily coming from an attack of me, it's from the internal thing that they got. So once I recognize that in me, I can recognize that in other people. So then it's easier for me to love, because I know I have to love myself even when I know I might not be where I want to be. And it's the same with other people too.
no, that's good. Because like I said, it takes you seeing the bigger picture. It takes
Hmm.
you understanding that your work in your life is worth more. And so when you decide to forgive self daily and others daily, it's not about them, it's about you, because
Hmm.
you live in your life in a different path, from that point on. And so we let go of the stuff that typically binds us down, and we become free of the emotional content, but also the anxiety that plagues us in regards to what we hold on to.
Hmm.
Because anxiety and depression can come from holding on to a lot of these things too.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a whole other discussion. That's a whole other, go ahead, Jeffrey. You got something.
So, well, I mean, since you mentioned that, then I get, I guess, can you say that any ailments or like you're saying, anxiety, depression, things like that, is a part of or a root cause of them because we're holding on to a lot of stuff and we're not hold on to a lot of things that we haven't, forgiven.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say a lot of, like Kenny was saying, anxiety and depression has a lot to do with suppressed anger.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't express how I feel and I internalize it, then it makes me feel, I flip it on myself.
Yeah.
So if somebody hurt me and if I don't verbalize it to somebody else, I internalize it. Now I'm angry with myself because I know for me to kind of deal with that is to have that conversation with that person or express that what I felt from that person. But if I suppress that, then it's like I'm poisoning my own self because I'm holding all that in. And the longer I hold it, the stronger it gets. So then somebody could say something to me one day, and it might just be in conversation, and I'm about to blow up, and they don't understand because I've suppressed all that for so long.
Yeah.
And then,
and think about, yeah. Go ahead, T.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, think about passive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
People that don't want you to read. The people that don't like to react, but they react by not doing something to hurt somebody else, or they use certain actions that maybe that you don't necessarily, they don't necessarily hurt you physically, but it's geared toward trying to hurt you emotionally. In relationships, we do it all the time. If husband and wife are upset with one another, they don't. Maybe the passive aggressive thing to do is not to talk to the other person. Because if I'm not talking to you, I'm gonna hurt you. But in reality, you giving them that peace is really what they wanted and what they needed. So it really ain't hurt nobody but you, because you're the person that's thinking about, I should have went ahead and addressed this, but now it's lingering on for 2 or 3 weeks. It happens in work situations. It happens in the church. In anywhere you go, you can run into passive aggressive people that we think by holding on to stuff. That's exactly what passive aggressive is. By holding on to stuff, I'm gonna hurt you indirectly instead of directly. But that's some power right there. If I can hurt you because of what I don't do. And when you think about it, it's just crazy. Like, why subject yourself to that when it's easier just to address the things and forgive constantly? Forgiveness doesn't mean that you don't understand the nature of the pain that you went through. It's just choosing not to let that pain, or it's choosing not to misuse that pain to hurt somebody else.
All right, so let me ask you this then: is it possible to forgive and forget?
I mean, anything's possible. Do people forgive and forget is the question.
Yeah.
Because that's what I look at. When people say, I'm gonna forgive you, but I'm not gonna forget it, are we really forgiving then? To be in a constant state of forgiveness is like having amnesia. After it happened, you no longer remember it because you're not focused on it. If you still focus on it, then you hadn't really forgave. I say it one more time. Forgive and forget. People say that all the time, I'm gonna forgive you, but I'm not gonna forget. My question is to those people: if you're continuing to harbor on what you didn't forget, then you really didn't forgive.
Yeah, that's what I was That's the answer I was looking for.
Because if it comes up periodically, you hadn't forgiven.
Mhm.
If I hit you with that low blow, you hadn't forgiven. If it come up at certain times of the year, you hadn't forgiven. You just told yourself that,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but you're not living like a person that's forgiving or that's forgiving other people.
That's good there. I am. Yeah. That's good there. That's good. That's good. Well, I guess we at the end of our session today. I hope it blessed y'all like it blessed us. Because it's definitely been insightful today. And I guess Kendrick,
This been good stuff.
yeah, how you wanna close it out?
I say definitely share this message with 10 people because everybody needs to live like they've been forgiven. Everybody needs to understand that in order to truly forgive, you must forget. Because if you hadn't forgotten the offense, then you still take offense to it.
Say that again. Say that again. Say that again. That's good.
If
Say
you
it again.
haven't forgotten the offense, then you still take an offense to it. And I paint another picture. It's like getting into a fight in elementary. At that time, it hurt you. But if you still talking about that person hitting you in elementary school, then you ain't really forgave that person.
Mm-hmm.
And you dang sure hadn't forgot it.
Yep.
So essentially that's what we're doing. We're holding on to stuff people did to us, years ago. And we say that we've forgiven and forgotten, but we still have them on trial for what they've done. And at some point, isn't 10 years, 20 years, 30 years a big enough sentence to have served for whatever crime that they committed against you? Is 20, 30, 40 years a long enough sentence for people that have offended you or hurt you emotionally? And then I want you to look at that same amount of time and look at how much time you've given to other people over your life. I've given you 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of my life by not letting go and forgiving you.
Like when you were saying that, what I wrote, when is your term up? That's
yeah, that's a mouthful right there. That's a conversation starter.
It just makes so much sense because it's like that's how you imprison yourself, because you serving a term on something that you should have been released from a long time ago.
Exactly. But people habitually do or go through these scenarios that we discussing. Habitual.
Man, I kind of want to do a part 2 and do the trial version of this stuff.
Right.
That right there, that hit me when you said that. I said, "Ooh wee."
So there is part 2. What did you say? The terms of what?
No, I said, when is your term up?
All right. So part 2 on Thursday. When is your time up? Part 2. So living like you're forgiving part 2. When is your term up? Coming to you on Thursday. So if you enjoy it today, jump in on Thursday to hear the second part of this. Share it with 10 people and continue to move forward.
Well,
this one is so good. I'm gonna have to rewatch this one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch this one today. Today.
Woo. Well, I guess my last words for the day would be, just take a look at your life. What good do you want to come to your life? And realize that the reason that good hasn't come yet because it doesn't have the room to come into your life, because there's something that you need to forgive to get out in order to make room for the good to come in. Because the space where the good's supposed to go, what you're holding on to, what you haven't forgiven, is occupying that space. So you got to let it go in order for the good that you want to come in can come in and take its place.
My.
There you go, D.
So again, we're gonna reshare this again at 6 o'clock today. Because we want to make sure everybody. So we're gonna reshare this at 6 o'clock, and hopefully somebody gets some out of it. And if you can share this with 10 of your friends or 10 of the people you're friends with on Facebook, even if they only get 2 minutes out of it, they should get full. So again, we're coming to you with part 2 on Thursday. As I always keep moving forward, stay in a constant state of forgiveness and have amnesia to the things that people have constantly offended you with in order to move forward.
Yeah.
All right. So we're for the day.
All right.